Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel, Fantasy Lorenzo.
Wait, what did you say?
Fantasy Lorenzo.
Have a good one. You guys better subscribe and watch my friend on his YouTube channel. He is kicking ass.
These are the soldiers of the new millennium. Almost perfect. Almost human. Almost.
They're not responding to our command!
Under our control. Now, one will lead them to destroy mankind.
The time of man has ended.
And one will return.
Luke Devereaux's the original Universal Soldier.
To stop him.
No. Been there, done that. The only way is to blow them up and hope the pieces don't keep fighting us.
This summer, it's man against machine.
Capture Luke Devereaux. Minimal damage.
One soldier against the ultimate warrior.
Dangerous.
The winner controls the future.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about Universal Soldier: The Return.
Universal Soldier: The Return.
This is not your lucky day.
So yeah, this is the sequel to the original film starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, as well as this time Michael Jai White and Bill Goldberg. So yeah, it's technically a sequel to the first film, but it really doesn't have much of a connection to it. Past the point of, just Jean-Claude Van Damme's character being back. There are a couple made-for-TV movies after this one, Brothers in Arms and Unfinished Business, but I haven't seen either of those, and I'm not really bothering to find a way to. But yeah, I really like the first Universal Soldier film. But the difference is in this one, it does have Jean-Claude Van Damme, but no Ali Walker, who I guess had scheduling conflicts with the film she was actually leading. So that was unfortunate she wasn't in this one anymore. But this film takes place about 7 years after the first, and at this point, Van Damme's character, he has gotten the cybernetic implants taken out of him, so he's essentially a human at this point. But of course, he's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and his character's still a war veteran. He still has fighting skill and stuff like that, but he's not like superhumanly strong anymore or anything like that. So you're not going to be seeing him, running down, solid walls or anything like that. But he's working with a scientist played by Xander Berkeley. It was nice to see Xander Berkeley in this. He's a really talented actor. He's just been in a ton of movies over the last few decades. Particularly love him in Nikita. He's been in Salem. He's on The Walking Dead right now. Being Human. Just tons of other stuff I'm sure you've seen him in. He wasn't, unfortunately, in as much of this as I would have liked him to be, but still, he's a welcome presence. Yeah, anyway. So they're trying to redo the program, really. They're working to refine and protect the Unisol program in an effort to make a new, stronger breed of soldier that is more sophisticated and intelligent to reduce the use of normal human soldiers in the battlefield. All of the new Unisols are faster and stronger than the originals, and they're connected through an artificially intelligent computer system called Seth, who is Michael Jai White. So yeah, even the premise alone I don't fully get. I don't really believe that Luke, I don't think that he would be a part of this. I don't see him joining up with this, wanting to continue the program at all. That doesn't really make much sense to me. Maybe I get they're trying to refine it if it works. Yeah, less lives lost in war, that sort of makes sense, but still, it's still it's still kind of odd, and a bit grim with the premise in the first place of the program, but I don't know, I just don't see him especially being like a leading part of it. It just didn't make much sense to me. But yeah, anyway, this one was less well received than the first, for obvious reasons. It came out in 1999, so about 7 years. Yeah, exactly 7 years, just like the film says. So I knew going into this I wasn't going to like it as much as the first. The first film, it might be my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme film. Now this one, I do have it on DVD. It's not bad. I definitely have seen worse sequels. But it really doesn't quite have what the first one did. Van Damme himself, though, is fine in it. He's actually a little bit more, I guess, likable in this one, and that's only because he's supposed to be more of a human now, so he gets to be a little bit more expressive, because he's not supposed to be really just robotic anymore. And sometimes when people he does care about are hurt or they die, Van Damme actually does a decent job of showing, like pain and sort of sadness over seeing certain things happen to people. So Van Damme, again, he's good in this movie. He throws some good kicks, as well as always. Was unfortunate that Ali Walker wasn't in this one, because I really liked her in the first. She's also got Sons of Anarchy and other things. They kind of replace her in this movie, which is unfortunate. They don't recast her, but there's a certain character in here that you can tell is pretty much filling that character's void. Let's see. Just trying to get her name real quick, which I showed on before the video. Yep. Okay, got it. Yeah, Heidi Shands, her name is Erin, I think, in this movie. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I could be giving the wrong name for the character, but you know who I mean, the reporter that was trying to really get into finding out what was happening at the facility. And of course, her and Van Damme have a spark. What's interesting, though, is that before the events of this movie, apparently, Van Damme's character, Luke, was married. They had a kid together. They show her in a picture once. It doesn't look like Ali Walker, but in my mind, since Ali Walker's not in this, I'd like to think that her character and Luke got together at the end of the first one and eventually married and, stuff like that. Because they never forced a complete romance in the first one, but you could tell they started being affectionate towards each other and respecting each other. So I feel like that would have been natural progression. So in my mind, yeah, that was them, but she had died before the events of the movie, so he's looking after his daughter on his own. And the scenes we do get of Van Damme and his daughter together, I think, are pretty nice. They're fairly touching for what they are. They're a bit brief, though. And the actress playing the new reporter doesn't do a bad job either. I actually thought she was pretty good. But again, I just felt like they were trying to replace the kind of character that Ali Walker played. You also have, like I said, Bill Goldberg in this. No Dolph Lundgren, but we do have Bill Goldberg. Of course, well-known professional wrestler. I've liked his work a lot. At least in the ring, I'm a fan. Here, he's fine. He's playing sort of a campy, sort of like big guy character. We don't have the presence of Dolph Lundgren anymore. And the character Goldberg plays isn't nearly as smart. But, he gets to do some of his wrestling poses like I showed you in that picture there. He throws a couple spears. And he's fine. He's actually, comic relief a little bit towards the end of the movie, which is funny. Of course, Luke will constantly get the best of him somehow. and he'll always have some kind of line after Luke gets away or something like that. Like, there's this point where Luke drives off on a truck after landing something soft, and of course Goldberg thinks he's going to jump to the same thing, but Luke just drives off as Goldberg jumps and he's falling. He's like, oh shit, or something like that. Or let's say something about how he hates him and stuff like that. So, some decent timing of that, a little bit more humor, I think, than the first one, for clear reasons. Although there's something quite like the diner scene from the first one. But yeah, overall, it's not a terrible movie. I did like it. Doesn't really quite rank for me like the first one did, though. It also felt more conventional than the first one, I think. This is the kind of movie that you might think the first one would be, really. It just felt a little bit more standard, with Luke being human and stuff like that. Although, like I said a few minutes ago, there are some good things that came out of that aspect. And it pretty much ends exactly the way you think it does. These types of movies aren't known for their twists necessarily, but Van Damme again is good. There's some good, couple good action sequences. Michael Jai White is fine. There isn't actually a whole lot of him in this movie. But he was fine for what he was, and he and Van Damme do share a good fight scene. And yeah, so overall, I'm giving this movie maybe about a C. I couldn't see myself giving it any lower than that, but also not really any higher. Yeah, there's nothing totally wrong, just maybe not as well written as the first. Again, a bit more of a conventional story. But still some good aspects to it because of Van Damme, so at least they retained that talent. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.